On the fateful day of September 13, 1984, a significant event occurred that forever changed our perception of Bigfoot. For the past 2 decades, the Wood and Ragsdale family had been embarking on their annual camping trips to Poison Meadows in Sierra National Forest, California. This particular location had become a cherished spot for us, akin to a second home. Arriving at our camping spot on September 6th, we settled in for a 2-week stay. As night fell, we gathered around the crackling fire, indulging in food and discussing the trails we planned to explore during our upcoming hunting expedition. During the course of that night and the subsequent 2 weeks, we began to hear peculiar knocking sounds, as if someone was tapping on the trees. However, being immersed in the wilderness, such sounds did not startle us. Our family had instilled in us a deep respect for nature and all its inhabitants, including the legendary Bigfoot. They taught us that by showing reverence towards bears, Bigfoot, and everything else in the woods, we would remain unharmed. In fact, they even shared the survival tip that if one were to encounter a bear rolling into a ball could potentially save their life. On September 11th, an incident occurred that left us all on edge. My cousin, affectionately nicknamed Bear Grease, ventured into the woods to relieve himself. As he attended to his business, he heard 3 distinct knocks on the trees, followed by a rock being hurled in his direction. Hastily pulling up his pants, he sprinted back to camp to recount the unnerving experience. Naturally, my brother Bob, known for his playful nature, couldn't resist making a joke about the situation, teasing Bear Grease for his hasty retreat without proper hygiene. We all shared a laugh, but deep down the incident had struck a chord with each of us. From that point on, anyone venturing into the woods to answer nature's call made sure to carry a weapon for added security. And so the day arrived, September 13th, a date that had always held a certain enchantment for me. After enjoying a hearty breakfast, we finalized our plans for the day's hunting expedition. Dividing into 2 groups, 5 of us embarked in vehicles while the remaining 6 set off on foot. Our rendezvous point, scheduled for 5 p.m., was a location adorned with 3 colossal rocks. During our time at the rocks, my cousins Daryl and Bear Grease expressed their unease about walking through the Poison Meadows, feeling as though something was following us. They even thought they saw a bear watching them from a hill. The woods were quieter than usual, with only the typical sounds of the mountains. My brother Bob claimed to have heard trees knocking, similar to the sounds Bear Grease heard the previous night. After having some snacks and water, we got into our vehicles to head back to camp, driving slowly as we were still on the lookout for game. We heard some loud crackling sounds from the left side of the vehicles in the woods, but we assumed it was just bears and continued on. Suddenly, a large rock was thrown from the woods, and we heard my Uncle Johnny exclaim, "What the fuck is that?" We turned to see a Sasquatch standing on the edge of the road, making a high-pitched scream. The younger members of our group ran towards it, but it quickly ran away. As we chased it, the sound around us became quiet, and we eventually lost sight of the creature. Later, we found broken branches and footprints that we believed belonged to the Sasquatch. During our chase, my dad's friend Buck claimed to have seen a bright red and blue light in the sky, which he believed to be a UFO. However, no one else saw it. In the heart of Poison Meadows, there was no trace of the elusive Sasquatch creature. However, the adults caught up with us and sternly warned us against chasing anything that could pose a threat to our lives. My brother Bob couldn't help but point out that it was the very same adults who had initially assured us of Bigfoot's trustworthiness, thus implying their partial responsibility for the situation. We returned to our campsite and gathered around the crackling fireplace, preparing dinner while engaging in conversation. All 11 of us unanimously agreed that what we had witnessed was indeed a Sasquatch and not a bear. It was at this moment that my father took the opportunity to emphasize the importance of respecting nature. He explained that if the Bigfoot had desired, it could have inflicted harm upon each and every one of us, but it chose not to. We were all aware that the Sasquatch family recognized us, as my own family had been camping in the same location for over 2 decades. Following this extraordinary encounter, we felt a sense of security while camping in the woods, as if the Sasquatch were our protective guardians, assuring us of their presence. Although we never personally laid eyes on the Bigfoot again, we often heard peculiar noises and the distinct sound of trees being knocked, as if they were communicating with us, reaffirming their connection with our presence.